Welcome to the channel. My name is Mickey. I am a professional Avery wrap installer out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Today, we're going to be answering the question, is vinyl wrap better than paint? Now, when it comes to wrap or paint, they are two different things. Wraps are temporary and they're meant to protect your paint, right? They go over your paint, they protect it from UV damage that the sun can beat down on, kills the clear coat, kills the paint, makes it crack, makes it fade. That is what vinyl wrap is there to do. It's to take majority of the beating that your paint does not need to take. And in 3 to 5 years, since it's temporary, you can just pull it off, remove it, and the paint underneath, if you got a professional or a well-experienced installer to install it, there should be no scratches, there should be no damage on that paint underneath if you removed it within that 3 to 5 year lifespan. But if the installer or the wrap shop is using a lower end quality film, you'll only get about 1 year to 2 years of lifetime out of that film. Now with paint, you have lower end paint jobs. You can get them for $500, $1,000, something like that, like a Mako paint job or a Rattle Can paint job. And it may run, it may look orange peely, it may start cracking within less than 1 year. But same happens with some cheap wraps, right? So people have been wrongly serviced in both industries and in both realms. Some people have gotten scammed for $5,000 wraps that were completely low quality, beginner work, scratches in the paint, terrible stuff. I have tons of video about that, and maybe I'll put some B-roll right here so that you guys can see how terrible some of these wraps can get. So here's a video of me removing the wrap off of a rooftop that has only been there for about 1 year. Now this wrap was coming off in pieces. This was almost a 40-minute removal, and it was a nightmare. Not as bad as the glass clips that you've seen, but it did take a long time, and I didn't even get the full video here. Back to the video. Take care of your wraps. But on the higher end to middle range, for paint shops, you have paint shops that are stripping the car, sanding it all down. They hit it with primer, clear coat, they finish it off with clay bar, polish it, all of that good stuff. So that is something you cannot get with a cheaper $500 paint job. And when it comes to wraps, you have the high-end paint jobs. They remove the bumpers, they wrap it deep. You see none of the original color. There's no scratches in the paint. Cuts are very pristine. They're smooth, they're flawless all around. And the big thing with wrap, so that you know if it's high quality or low quality, the wrap, depending on the color, can overstretch and discolor, or it can be overstretched on certain corners and they start pulling back. So there's a lot that can really happen when it comes to wraps. And before we continue, I did want to show you guys that there are cars at car shows that look like this. Now it's because they didn't do the research on the installer or they wanted to pay a cheap price. So in turn, if you have a bad wrap, that can make your build ultimately look very subpar and trashy in the end. When it comes to price point and all of that, when it comes to wrap and paint, that's not something I'm going to be touching on today, just because the spectrum of quality and materials and skill sets is just so vast. We'll go into that in a later video more in depth so that you guys can really understand that topic. But for this video, my advice to you is to remember that wraps are to protect, and you also get the aesthetic benefit of a wrap, but it protects your paint. If your paint is already bad, it's damaged, it's rusted, clear coat's failing, and all of that other bad stuff, I would recommend going with a paint job so that they can sand everything down, they can bondo all the damage, hit it with primer, hit it with base coat, clear coat, and then polish and make it look brand new. Do that with a paint job. Covering up a damaged clear coat or really bad paint with a wrap is a terrible use for your money because it's not going to look good. Any little bump or dust or uneven surface under the wrap will emphasize that damage. So if your paint is damaged, I would stray away from the wraps, but if it's damaged, I would go towards paint. If your paint is fresh off the lot, you just got the car, no dents, no scratches, no nothing, get it wrapped as soon as possible because that will give you long-term protection, right? So with high quality wraps, you have 3 to 5 year warranty lifespan. When it comes to PPF, you have even more of lifespan from that, 10 to 12 years. But that is a higher cost, so we'll talk more on that later. But again, is a wrap better than paint? I would say that there is no debate, because they both have their own use cases and they both do their own thing. Some people even get a fresh paint job, then they wrap on top of that, then they PPF on top of that. Or some people will sand down the whole car. They just want to keep wrapping it every year, every other year, because they do shows or car meets or SEMA and stuff like that. They will just sand and primer the whole thing if it's damaged, the whole vehicle, and then they'll just wrap it every year, every 2 years, and just keep a fresh color coming, right? So it really does depend on the person, if a wrap is better for you or if a paint job is better for you. But on the next video, we will find out vinyl wrap or paint. Which is the better option for you, and why should you get one or the other? Please leave a like, and if you still want to debate about if vinyl wrap is better than paint, jump into the comment section and let's see what you guys have to say. Other than that, I hope you got some education from this. I hope you enjoyed the video. This was Mickey, and I hope you have a great day.